All across Oregon, an unsettling stillness has begun to settle over entire communities. Houses that were once meant to be filled with families are now sitting untouched, as if time simply forgot them. Apartments that developers envisioned for young professionals remain unlit night after night, and downtown condos can go for months without anyone stepping through the door. In certain cities, the quiet is so widespread that drone footage looks less like a snapshot of real life and more like scenes from an abandoned simulation, something eerie and almost artificial. So what's behind this shift? A mix of overbuilding, soaring insurance costs, shrinking populations, and a sharp drop in rental demand has pushed Oregon into a new and unexpected chapter in its housing market. Properties are lingering on the market, buyers are second-guessing their next move, renters are packing up and leaving, and thousands of homes across the state now sit vacant with no clear path toward recovery. Today, we're counting down the 10 Oregon cities with the highest number of empty homes in 2025, presented with the cinematic flair you've come to expect from Discover the Cities. If you're just joining us, don't forget to subscribe. Now, let's get started. Number 10. Astoria. Astoria stands as one of Oregon's most historic and visually striking coastal cities, known for its Victorian homes and postcard-worthy scenery. But behind that charm, the local housing market has quietly slipped into one of the state's most overlooked downturns. For years, the city drew in remote workers, retirees, and second-home buyers who wanted a scenic alternative to Portland. By the time 2025 arrived, however, that trend had shifted dramatically. Home prices rose far beyond what local wages could keep up with, tourism cooled off, and the cost of owning property climbed high enough to turn potential buyers away. As a result, more and more homes across Astoria are now sitting vacant. During the boom, classic cottages and craftsman-style houses that once sold in the mid-$300s, 0 seconds blew past the $500,000 mark. Waterfront condos overlooking the Columbia River regularly hit the $600,000 range. But today, the buyer demand that supported those prices has largely disappeared. Median incomes in Clatsop County never caught up, leaving many families who once hoped to buy in Astoria suddenly priced out. With rising mortgage rates and steep insurance hikes layered on top, the affordability gap became impossible to ignore. Vacancy rates have been inching upward. On the hillside south of Marine Drive, whole pockets of homes sit unoccupied. Many originally bought as vacation properties or short-term rentals that no longer generate meaningful revenue. A typical 3-bedroom, priced around $500,000, can linger on the market for 2 to 3 months, even after the seller drops the price by $20,000 to $30,000. Some go even lower, yet buyer traffic remains sluggish. Short-term rental owners are stepping back as well. Tourism on the northern Oregon coast has shifted toward more budget-friendly towns like Seaside and Warrenton, leaving Astoria's Airbnb bookings notably weaker. Combine that with higher insurance costs, tougher rules, and shrinking returns, and many investors are quietly listing their properties, hoping to get out before conditions slide further. Outmigration is adding another layer to the problem. More residents are relocating inland to places like Longview, Street, Helens, and Salem, where housing is far more attainable, shrinking the buyer pool even more. Astoria is still undeniably beautiful, but the economics have drifted out of balance. Too many expensive homes, too few qualified buyers, and a market now adjusting to a far harsher reality in 2025. Number 9. Roseburg. Roseburg has always been known for its natural landscapes, relaxed pace, and relatively low cost of living when compared to Oregon's bigger cities. For a long time, that mix drew in retirees, remote workers, and newcomers from other states who were searching for something quieter and more affordable. But by 2025, Roseburg finds itself in the middle of one of Southern Oregon's most surprising housing slowdowns, marked by rising vacancies and fewer qualified buyers entering the market. At the heart of the issue is a major hit to affordability. Homes that once hovered in the upper $200,000 range jumped into the mid and even high $300s, 0 seconds during the pandemic as buyers from Portland and California poured in, as driving prices higher. A 3-bedroom house that went for roughly $280,000 in 2019 now commonly lists closer to $400,000. Meanwhile, local wages haven't kept pace, leaving families stretched thin and widening the gap between home prices and what people can realistically pay. Because of that imbalance, listings are sitting still for much longer than they used to. Neighborhoods like Melrose and Green, where homes priced between $350,000 and $400,000 were once snapped up quickly, now often see properties linger on the market for 2 to 3 months. Sellers who once counted on multiple offers are now trimming $15,000 to $20,000 off the asking price, just to get more eyes on their listings. Vacancies are especially noticeable in newer subdivisions. Builders who added entire clusters of homes in northeast Roseburg and along Garden Valley Boulevard are now dealing with unsold inventory rows of finished houses sitting without occupants and construction lots prepared for future builds that have been paused. Even incentives like covering closing costs or offering upgraded appliances haven't done much to restart demand. The rental market isn't avoiding the slowdown either. New apartment complexes near Stewart Parkway and the downtown area are reporting vacancy levels higher than anything the city has seen in 10 years. Many renters, including young families and retirees, are moving to places like Winston and Sutherland, where the cost of living remains more manageable. With job growth lagging, migration slowing down, insurance rates rising, and home prices outpacing local earnings, Roseburg has slipped into a challenging loop. Too many new homes, too few buyers, and a market trying to recalibrate after expanding faster than the local economy could support. In 2025, Roseburg stands out as one of Oregon's clearest examples of a small city strained by rapid growth that arrived too quickly and demand that faded just as fast. Number 8. Gresham. Gresham's housing slowdown has become one of the most telling trends in the entire Portland metro area. It highlights just how quickly a market can lose its footing once affordability slips away and migration patterns start to shift. For most of the last decade, Gresham acted as the pressure release valve for buyers priced out of Portland's inner neighborhoods. Homes cost less, the commute wasn't overwhelming, mortgage payments felt stable, and for many first-time buyers who couldn't break into Portland, Gresham offered a practical doorway into homeownership. But by 2025, that reality looks very different. Home prices climbed far beyond what local incomes could reasonably support. At the peak of the housing boom, townhomes that historically sold around $380,000 suddenly became the affordable option. Meanwhile, brand-new single-family homes in East Gresham started crossing the $500,000 mark across multiple subdivisions. These increases were driven by Portland residents searching for more space and by out-of-state newcomers with higher budgets. Now, that demand has fallen off dramatically. Migration from Portland, once the lifeblood of Gresham's buyer base, has dropped to its lowest point in more than 10 years. Many households who used to view Gresham as their next logical step are choosing to skip the metro area entirely, moving instead to more affordable states like Idaho, Utah, Arizona, or Washington. Without that steady inflow, Gresham's buyer pool has shrunk far faster than local planners expected. Vacancies are rising in neighborhood after neighborhood. Homes that used to go pending within a few days now sit on the market for 2 to 3 months, even with price reductions. Those old $380,000 townhomes are now being listed closer to $330,000, yet showings remain sparse. Single-family homes, priced in the mid-$400,000 range, often see almost no activity, no matter what incentives sellers offer. The rental market is slowing right alongside the for-sale market. A growing number of renters who once aimed to buy in Gresham have abandoned those plans altogether, often choosing to leave Oregon completely. Their departure removes another layer of future buyers and further widens the imbalance between supply and demand. With insurance premiums rising, utility costs climbing, and wages barely budging, Gresham no longer carries the reputation of being the affordable alternative to Portland. By 2025, it has become one of the clearest examples in Oregon of a community where listings linger, demand fades, and the gap between available homes and willing buyers grows a little wider every month. Number 7. Medford. Medford used to sit at the center of Southern Oregon's housing boom, a place that pulled in retirees, young families, and remote workers with its mild weather, mountain views, and homes that felt far more attainable than those in Portland or Bend. But by 2025, Medford is experiencing one of the steepest and most surprising slowdowns anywhere in the region. Prices have risen well beyond what local incomes can support. Wildfire-driven insurance costs have shot up, and the steady stream of new buyers entering Jackson County has slowed to a crawl. The result is a housing market with far more inventory than people ready or able to buy. Affordability is the clearest sign of the shift. During the pandemic boom, 3-bedroom houses that once sold for about $300,000 suddenly leapt into the mid-$400,000 range. In East Medford, brand new builds climbed even higher, with modern homes pushing well past the $500,000 mark. Much of that surge came from out-of-state buyers moving in from California and Washington, but that wave has now faded. Local wages never caught up to the new pricing reality, leaving many households unable to qualify for the homes they had once hoped to afford. This mismatch is now showing up in a growing number of vacant properties. Subdivisions off Crater Lake Highway and neighborhoods around North Phoenix Road have homes sitting empty for months at a time. Listings that used to draw multiple offers within days now struggle to attract even modest interest. A 3-bedroom, priced around $480,000, can stay on the market for 2 to 3 months, even after the seller knocks $20,000 or more off the asking price. Owners expecting quick sales are realizing just how much the buyer pool has thinned. Insurance costs are adding another layer of strain. Premiums tied to wildfire risk have become so high that many first-time buyers simply can't make the numbers work. Builders are tapping the brakes as well. Projects in southeast Medford and nearby White City, which once counted on steady absorption, now show clusters of unsold homes, half-finished lots, and incentives that still fail to spark strong demand. With ownership costs rising, in-migration slowing, rental demand softening, and home prices far above what the local job market can sustain, Medford enters 2025 inches a tough transitional phase. Too many homes, too few buyers, and a market trying to find its footing after years of rapid growth. Number 6. Salem. Salem is gradually becoming one of Oregon's most overlooked pockets of rising vacancies. While it never saw the wild real estate frenzy that hit Portland, Bend, or the Central Oregon market, the state capital enjoyed years of steady demand thanks to its reputation for being relatively affordable and reliably stable. That predictability once kept the market balanced, but by 2025, the conditions that supported Salem's growth have weakened, leaving the city with far more listings than buyers ready to make a move. The earliest signs of the slowdown appeared in the rental market. Newly built apartment complexes in South Salem and Keyser, projects that were expected to lease up almost instantly, are now reporting vacancy rates far beyond what developers anticipated. Units that once filled within weeks are sitting empty for months, and several buildings have crossed into double-digit vacancy territory. Northeast Salem is showing an even sharper rise in emptiness, suggesting that cooling demand is cutting across multiple income brackets and property types. The owner-occupied side of the market is experiencing the same pullback. Updated 3-bedroom homes priced around $450,000, once considered a sweet spot for buyers, are now sitting on the market for 70 to 90 days before receiving a meaningful offer. To generate interest, many sellers are trimming $10,000 to $20,000 off their asking price, yet showings remain sparse as more buyers bump up against affordability limits. Salem's central challenge comes down to the collision between rising costs and wages that simply haven't kept pace. Insurance premiums across the state have surged. Utility bills and property taxes continue to climb, yet local salaries have stayed relatively stagnant. Buyers who could comfortably afford a home 5 years ago are now shifting their attention toward more budget-friendly cities like Albany, Lebanon, or Springfield. Others are choosing to stay renters because the financial leap into ownership no longer adds up. Migration trends are adding even more pressure. A growing share of Willamette Valley residents are leaving Oregon altogether for lower-cost states such as Idaho, Utah, and Washington, further shrinking the pool of potential buyers. All of these forces combined create a noticeable landscape of empty properties throughout Salem's neighborhoods. Listings linger, turnover slows, and each month the imbalance between inventory and active demand becomes more pronounced. By 2025, Salem stands out as a market grappling with high prices, slowing economic momentum, and a steadily declining base of buyers able or willing to participate. Number 5. Eugene. Eugene is going through one of the most dramatic vacancy shifts in the entire state, and the pace of the change has caught even seasoned real estate observers off guard. For years, the city felt somewhat shielded from major housing swings thanks to the University of Oregon, a strong public sector workforce, and consistent demand driven by lifestyle and quality of life appeal. But by 2025, all three of those stabilizing forces are weakening at the same time, leaving more homes sitting empty and more sellers rethinking what their properties are actually worth. One of the biggest pressure points is in the neighborhoods surrounding the university areas traditionally anchored by student renters. These pockets of housing used to fill up every school year without fail. Today, vacancies are rising. Changing enrollment trends, the growth of hybrid and remote learning, and students opting for cheaper rentals in Springfield or farther from campus are reshaping the market. Homes that once produced steady, predictable income now face long stretches between tenants and more empty bedrooms than landlords ever anticipated. Investor behavior is highlighting the problem even more. Many out-of-state buyers who scooped up older houses between 2019 and 2022 expected reliable cash flow. Instead, they're grappling with rising insurance premiums, higher utility costs, and expensive repairs tied to aging properties. Roof replacements, outdated plumbing, and electrical upgrades have become costly surprises, prompting a growing number of investors to sell. That wave of listings is adding even more supply to a market that's already struggling. Affordability challenges, are amplifying the slowdown. Eugene's median home price, hovering around $500,000, has outrun the local income base. Mortgage payments at that level exceed what many households can realistically handle. Buyers who once saved with hopes of purchasing in Eugene are now setting their sights on more attainable areas like Creswell, Springfield, and Junction City, or they're leaving the region altogether in search of lower living costs. Vacancy data makes the shift even clearer. Neighborhoods such as West Eugene, the Ferry Street Bridge area, and communities south of campus are reporting vacancy rates above 15%. Newly built townhomes and updated single-family homes are lingering on the market far longer than developers expected, even after notable price cuts. By 2025, Eugene feels like a city that expanded for a wave of residents who never fully arrived. The homes are ready, the inventory is available, but the steady stream of buyers and renters that once powered the market has thinned dramatically, leaving Eugene with a growing number of empty properties and no immediate signs of a turnaround. Number 4. Bend. Bend has spent years at the top of Oregon's most desirable places to live, a city celebrated for its outdoor lifestyle, booming tourism economy, and constant stream of newcomers searching for a better quality of life. But by 2025, that long-running wave of growth has slowed dramatically. What was once a red-hot market has cooled into a landscape dotted with empty listings, half-finished construction sites, and affordability challenges that have pushed many potential buyers out of the picture entirely. For more than a decade, home prices in Bend rose far faster than the local income base. Median values blew past $700,000, while many newer homes on the increasingly popular West Side routinely debuted at $900,000 or more. At those price points, Bend's small-town charm became out of reach for the very people who kept the city functioning. Teachers, healthcare staff, service workers, and even mid-level professionals found themselves boxed out of ownership. Now the effects of that imbalance are showing up everywhere. New subdivisions on the east side illustrate the shift clearly. Long stretches of partially finished homes sit along quiet streets where construction has slowed or come to a complete stop. Builders assumed demand would remain strong, but the buyer pool simply isn't large enough to support the pace of development. Several neighborhoods that were supposed to be sold out by 2023 are still carrying double-digit vacancy rates 2 years later. Condo and townhome inventory has nearly doubled from pre-pandemic levels. Units priced between $450,000 and $600,000 are lingering on the market for months at a time, even after sellers trim $10,000 to $20,000 off the asking price. Owners who once expected bidding wars are now competing with nearly identical units, offering incentives, closing credits, or reduced HOA fees just to attract attention. The rental market mirrors the same shift. High-end rentals that once filled quickly, often with migrating tech workers, Californians, or seasonal tourism employees, are now sitting empty with surprisingly little interest. As housing costs soared, the flow of newcomers slowed. Many who once dreamed of moving to Bend are now choosing more affordable alternatives, such as Redmond, Prineville, or even entirely different states like Idaho and Montana. At its core, Bend's vacancy issue comes down to a simple reality. Prices climbed too far ahead of what local incomes could support, and the pool of qualified buyers couldn't keep pace. By 2025, the city is left navigating a landscape of vacant homes, stalled developments, and a market no longer propped up by the rapid growth that once defined it. Number 3. Tillamook County. Tillamook County has always held a certain quiet coastal magic, rugged ocean views, peaceful forested hills, and home prices far below Portland's helped make it a longtime favorite for retirees, remote workers, and second home buyers. For years, that mix kept the local housing market steady and predictable. But by 2025, the county is dealing with a sharp and surprisingly sudden slowdown, revealing just how fragile smaller coastal regions can be when home prices surge faster than incomes and the cost of living spikes all at once. The affordability shift has been the most striking change. During the boom, homes that once went for the mid-$200, 0 seconds jumped into the high $300,000 to low $400,000 range, especially in popular areas like Netarts, Oceanside, and the Bayfront communities. Local wages never came close to matching those increases, and now many full-time residents can't qualify for properties priced anywhere near $400,000. Inventory is climbing across Tillamook, Garibaldi, Rockaway Beach, and nearby neighborhoods. Standard 3-bedroom houses listed between $320,000 and $400,000 are sitting on the market for 2 to 3 months, even after price cuts. Sellers who were accustomed to steady coastal demand are now shaving $10,000 to $20,000 off their asking price with little improvement in traffic or showings. Buyer hesitation is becoming the norm. Insurance costs are adding another financial hurdle. With coastal wind exposure, updated flood zone maps, and intensifying storm risks, premiums have jumped dramatically. Policies that once cost around $1,500 a year now often exceed $3,000, knocking many first-time buyers out of the running entirely. New construction is slowing down too. Projects near the Tillamook River and around Cape Mears show empty lots, partially completed homes, and for-sale signs that barely budge. Builders are offering upgraded appliances, credits, and attractive lending incentives, yet demand remains muted. Migration patterns are intensifying the problem. Many longtime residents are moving inland to more affordable counties, such as Yamhill or Polk, while fewer new households are relocating from Portland. With fewer buyers entering the market and overall living costs rising, the support system that once kept Tillamook County's housing market stable is starting to crumble. By 2025, Tillamook County stands out as one of Oregon's clearest examples of a coastal community caught between rising prices, shrinking demand, and a growing number of homes waiting for buyers who may never arrive. Number 2. Beaverton. Beaverton is experiencing one of the sharpest and most surprising spikes in vacancies anywhere in the Portland metro area. For decades, it was viewed as the steady, family-focused backbone of Washington County, a city that usually held its footing even when the broader market cooled. But by 2025, the same pressures that pushed buyers out of Portland have reached deep into Beaverton's neighborhoods, creating a level of market softening the city hasn't faced in many years. The heart of the issue is the rising cost of owning a home. Property taxes across Washington County continue to climb. Insurance premiums have jumped significantly due to wildfire exposure and statewide rate changes. On top of that, HOA fees in neighborhoods throughout Five Oaks, Murray Hill, and Cedar Hills have increased sharply. When you combine all of these expenses, monthly payments rise by hundreds of dollars, pushing many households beyond what they can realistically afford. As these costs stack up, demand has slipped. Inventory in Beaverton is now up by nearly 25%. Single-family homes priced in the mid-$600,000, range common in areas like Murray Hill and South Beaverton, are sitting on the market for 2 to 3 months. Price reductions of $20,000 to $40,000 are becoming standard, and houses that once attracted bidding wars now struggle to generate consistent showings. Condos and townhomes are under even more strain. Units near Milliken Way, Tannisbourne, and Jenkins Road are reporting some of the highest vacancy levels in the region. Many carry HOA dues above $400 a month, which pushes buyers away and prompts investor-owned properties to be relisted, adding even more supply to an already saturated market. The rental side is feeling the same pressure. Newer apartment communities near Nike's headquarters and along the Max line are seeing rising vacancy rates. Incentives like waived deposits and a free first month of rent have become standard tools just to attract tenants. Migration trends are amplifying the slowdown. Households leaving Portland are increasingly bypassing suburban Beaverton altogether, choosing Vancouver, Salem, Bend, or even out-of-state cities where their income stretches further and ownership feels more attainable. By 2025, Beaverton has become one of Oregon's clearest examples of weakening demand. A city once known for its steady reliability now faces growing inventory, softening interest, and a swelling number of homes waiting for buyers who have already looked elsewhere. Number 1. Portland. Portland sits at the epicenter of Oregon's vacancy surge, and the scale of the slowdown is unlike anything the city has faced in recent memory. Once considered one of the most sought-after metros on the West Coast, Portland has entered a period marked by rising inventory, cooling demand, and a growing sense of uncertainty. By 2025, the city holds the highest concentration of empty homes in the entire state. A combination of long-running trends brought Portland to this point. Years of outmigration gradually reduced the city's population as thousands of households packed up for Vancouver, Bend, Boise, or left the Pacific Northwest altogether in search of lower taxes, better affordability, and a change in lifestyle. With fewer residents staying and fewer newcomers arriving, the pool of potential buyers has shrunk dramatically, and the effects are visible in nearly every corner of the city. Home prices that once pushed Portland far beyond what local salaries could support are no longer sustainable. The median price, which hovered around $570,000 at the market's peak, doesn't align with the current buyer base. As a result, listings now sit for 90 days or more, even in neighborhoods that once saw homes sell within a weekend. Price reductions of $50,000 to $100,000 have become routine as sellers try to spark movement. Portland's condo towers reveal an even more striking level of weakness. Buildings in the Pearl District, South Waterfront, and downtown are reporting some of the highest vacancy rates in Oregon. Investors who bought units during the boom are now unloading them at discounted prices or letting them sit empty as HOA dues rise and maintenance assessments stack up. In some towers, entire floors have more dark windows than occupied ones. Single-family neighborhoods across the city reflect the same story. Streets that once buzzed with new listings and active buyers now feel subdued. Homes that used to command full-price offers in a matter of days are staying on the market for months. Even nicely updated properties in Laurelhurst, Selwood, and Alberta are seeing noticeably weaker interest. High insurance premiums, rising property taxes, and concerns about future appreciation have pushed many would-be buyers to hold off entirely. With fewer newcomers arriving to offset the number of residents leaving, Portland's housing inventory is growing faster than the market can absorb it. By 2025, the vacancy spike stands as the strongest indication that the city's housing market expanded well beyond the population willing or financially able to sustain it. Entire blocks feel quieter. Sales activity has slowed to a crawl, and thousands of homes now wait for buyers who have already looked elsewhere. Taken together, these 10 Oregon cities reveal a housing trend few anticipated. Homes are being built or listed at a pace that outstrips the pool of buyers and renters available to fill them. Prices remain elevated, insurance costs continue to climb, migration has slowed, and entire neighborhoods are settling into an uneasy stillness. For more cinematic, long-form investigations into the places shaping America's future, make sure to subscribe to Discover the Cities.